Okay, and we should be live at this point. Today is September 2nd, 2015. This is Jersey Hobby Hour. I'm your host, Steve Chin, and with me I've got Alan Wan.
Hey guys, so based on the feedback I got from last week, I'm going to keep my mic as far away as I can from me, and I'm going to keep my hands right here so it doesn't look like I'm doing certain things to it.
Okay, we're going to jump right into it. This is going to be a quick little stream. Again, the target is about an hour. It's a show where we talk about basically anything that we have as hobbies or news about our hobbies. So this is primarily going to focus around gaming. Other than that, maybe little tabletop board games and some other entertainment news. Basically anything that we see that pops up that tickles our fancy. We'll just give a quick little chat about it. The best part is that me and Alan already want to talk about this stuff anyway. We come up with the show notes together in advance, and we have some information about that posted in the information for the video down below. You can check that out and follow along with us. And if you want, leave some comments in the video as we do this live. Although I haven't yet figured out how to view those comments other than visiting the page live myself.
Yeah,
but,
the live chat.
You can also leave comments on the YouTube video after it posts, generally about 20 minutes or so after this video or this stream is complete. Okay, so let's talk about the first thing, some big news that happened on Monday. We got information about the new Xbox One Elite. Basically, it's going to be a hybrid solid-state 1 terabyte drive that's going to be installed on the Xbox 360. I'm sorry, Xbox One. And all the games should load faster by about 20%, at least according to the information provided to us by Microsoft. In addition to this, we're going to see a brand new controller, and I'll actually pull that up right now here on my screen for you guys to view. So this is just a 3D representation of the Xbox One Elite that's coming out, I believe, in November. And what we're looking at is both the controller and the system. Doesn't seem like there's any real differences in the system. But the big news is the controller, which will be a $150 controller, apparently. And Alan, what do you think, man?
Well, to be honest, I mean, obviously it's a great way to kind of like promote the whole competitive gaming. It seems like this is basically a premium controller. So essentially, whoever is going to use it is going to be basically these hardcore gamers that are like in leagues and everything. So like for the normal like schmo like me and you, we might not want to shell out $150 for that controller unless we get it in this Elite bundle. And looking at the Xbox One Elite itself, it's like you said, it does go faster. I believe it's using something called a standard solid state hybrid drive. So it's apparently it's supposed to make loading video games 20% faster.
Which I can tell you right away that hybrid drives are not usually something that like the super tech savvy end up going with. They usually just jump right into a solid state drive. Like, why bother with a hybrid? And the only reason why they probably did a 1 terabyte drive for this is because of like large like storage volumes of media or games, because like some games take up huge amounts of storage space, whereas like a solid state drive purely would probably cost a lot of money, but you'd get probably much better performance than you even would.
It's cheaper. That's why.
It's cheaper.
And then it's also but there's also how much of it is actually solid state. It could be like 8 gigs, which is probably just going to be the Microsoft Xbox whatever software, and then the rest could be for like storing the games itself on a regular hard drive.
I mean, ideally, that's probably what it is. And in fact, like even on my computer, like right now, the operating system Windows is actually on a solid state drive. Like all my games on Steam are actually loaded onto like a separate hard drive, a spinner, and that actually still gets me a lot more or a lot quicker loading times than you would have just had everything on a spinner drive, on a standard hard drive. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that they went that route. But the biggest, I think the biggest change is that controller. I think the controller itself is going to be what's most interesting to most people. And I think a lot of people will probably go out of their way to buy that controller separately as opposed to getting the system with the controller, simply because it's $500 and you don't get to connect with it.
Exactly. And well, speaking of which, since I don't have an Xbox One, if I were to buy an Xbox One now, I would buy the Xbox One Elite, obviously, because I want the value. Because the Xbox One itself, I believe it's $400. And then with this, is it $400? I'm not sure. It's like $400 or $300. And then and basically when you get this controller, it's $150 separately. So when you get the bundle, I think you're supposed to save like $50 from there. So if I was personally going to get it,
the biggest thing is that Connect. That you lose out on the Connect at that price point.
Well, the Connect the Connect was, I believe, around the same price as well. The price point was, I believe, like $500 or something like that, or $499.99 was with the Connect. And now the recent ones that are coming out is $399 because they cut out the Connect. They're kind of basically dumped the Connect away now because they realize that, hey, not everyone's excited about this technology, even though it's a great piece of hardware. But the thing is that none of the developers are using it, which is a shame.
Well, what's interesting about this whole thing, and I keep going back to the controller, is basically this controller is actually the same thing that has been around before. I mean, you look at it, and it's literally the same controller with just some extra doodads. On the reverse side, they have these paddles that are on there. I'm not sure if we could see them in the pictures that I have here, but you might be able to see it as this thing rotates around in the 3D image. But I have another page that's pulled up here. It's a company called, I think it's Scuff Gaming, and they actually have a line of controllers which have interchangeable thumbsticks and have paddles on the backside already. I actually found out about this from my coworker who bought one of these, and I think he paid something like $110 for it. But he's a big Call of Duty fan, and he wants to be able to hit those extra buttons up where his thumb normally is, but not have to actually move his thumb off the thumbstick. So these paddles are great, but this is really just the same thing that we've seen before from third parties. This isn't really a new concept. I'm surprised that they decided to brand this themselves and start selling it at even a higher premium than these third parties. I would have figured that Microsoft probably should have done this in the first place, just to kind of push out this market already, because the people who already know about these types of controllers are going to aim for Scuff in the first place. They're not going to go out of their way to buy a Microsoft controller, probably. I'm really not sure. And I just don't see myself as a gamer like really wanting to spend $150 for a controller when I can go buy 3 or 4 games for that price, or even cheaper. I don't know about you.
I agree. But it's targeting essentially the hardcore console gamers. Because me and you, we dabble in console gaming, but we are not hardcore. We're not on on Call of Duty every day. So it's like the people that actually play fighting games. They have the fighting sticks. People are like, I know I have friends that obviously shell out extra money, like $200 for those fighting sticks. And they say they swear by it because it's so much easier. It's more fluid when they fight. It's easier for them to control their characters. I personally don't have one. I can't speak from firsthand, but from just hearing from my friends, these are basically like they're hardcore gamers. So like I said, it's not going to be targeting towards the regular schmo. I mean, obviously, I'm not getting this. If I'm going to buy another controller, I'm not buying the Elite. I'm not buying another controller like this for my girlfriend to play with me.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't see the advantage as a general gamer because me, I'm more of a connoisseur than I am a hardcore gamer, and I feel like you're the same way. We're a big part of the gaming market. Is this us casual gamers?
Oh yeah, of course. Well, that's why one of the reasons why the Wii did so well initially.
Right. So along with this, we actually have the Halo 5 Guardians cinematic release that came out on Monday as well, which they already had some other videos posted on their website. But to be honest, this new video actually looks really cool. We get a quick scene about kind of what the mission is, at least for the first mission, I assume. And we also get to see Nathan Fillion's face plastered pretty clearly, if anyone's a Nathan Fillion fan. But I think the best part of it is towards the end and sort of the combat sequence that they show. Of course, it's not actual gameplay footage, but it's essentially or showing you that the game is seemingly more co-op.
It's actually it's a cinematic opening, apparently.
Right. It's a cinematic opening. This page that I'm actually showing here is just the Halo 5 Guardians Waypoint website, which there's a video down here for the campaign that's right here, which is a little bit longer than the video that they posted not too long ago on Monday, which is easily Googleable. That's funny.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll make it to into the dictionary soon enough.
Right. Big thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, and just the way that they're framing the story and the way that they're setting it up. They have a very tight-knit group, kind of like they did in Halo ODST, where you have, the rookie, you have, the sergeant, and you have all these people, these characters that you're developing around you. And they're setting up for a story that looks to be like a co-op story. And they kind of like played into this with Halo 4, with Spartan Ops towards the end. I mean, it was a multiplayer cooperative environment. And ultimately, I think that's where they went with like this primary campaign for Halo 5. But they already announced that they're not going to have split screen gameplay. You're not going to be able to sit down next to each other and play co-op. Like I don't know how about you, but I mean, I want to like play with my friends like on the couch if this is going to be like a story that is going to be really enthralling.
Is this confirmed that they're not going to have it with split screen?
Yes, confirmed.
That's very surprising. I mean, usually the best part of playing Halo is that you get to play with your friends in the same room. Like just like back then we were, Halo 1, we would be playing split screen, cooperative, I believe. Right. So it's a shame that they're gonna go for this. And also just talking about the new game. I believe they're having the reason why this cinematic opening is featuring the one character. I don't know the name of the character, but it's supposed to be Timo Cyrus or something like that.
Yeah,
and essentially,
yeah.
So from what I read about it, so what they're gonna do is they're gonna do something along the lines of like what they did in Halo 2, where they had Master Chief and they had the Arbiter, two different kind of perspectives and during the same time. So it seems like that's what they're going to try to do, where they're going to still have Master Chief as their bread and butter, but then they're going to try to expand on how there's perspective expand on basically the perspective of the game to kind of get a better perspective of the whole game in general. I mean, during the storyline about like, Master Chief is doing this, these guys are doing this at the same time. So kind of to get a little more well-rounded.
Well, so I think the big thing with the Arbiter and that whole storyline that they did with him, that was meant to be a surprise. Like the fact that happened in Halo 2 was like big. Like there was like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm going to play as an elite? Whoa, that's like a little bit crazy here. Like this... Mm-hmm. This isn't, something that's completely off the wall and, that you don't know about because they've been building up to this kind of like head-to-head sort of like, Spartan Locke's going to be end up fighting the Master Chief. And like even some of the cinematic videos or like the videos that are on their website, they actually kind of build up to that as well. And it seems like, the Chief's gone AWOL or something like that. So I have this feeling that... You're right. They're going to do this sort of contrasting sort of exposition where you're going to play as Locke and fire Timo Cyrus is what they call it. Basically, and hunt Master Chief, and you're going to get to this point where it's like, man, this is like like why am I doing this? And then they're going to throw Master Chief at you and blow up his story again. It's interesting what they did when they left it open at the end of Halo 4 with the whole. Prometheans still being out there kind of thing. I feel like that plot was interesting, but I feel like they kind of dragged it out now into this like second and third games. Like I'm curious to see where it goes because I mean the most interesting part of the ending of Halo 4 was the whole humanity story of the Master Chief. Like the little scene at the end of the game where Master Chief is like standing at the window and says that our job is to protect humanity or something like that. And I forget the commander's name, but he says to him, like, you say that as if you're not part of humanity. And like that's like really deep. And it speaks to like the fact that you played like a whole bunch of like war games, first player shooter games, and you're like, he's just been a soldier this entire time. Like he's not really a person.
Yeah, like in Halo 4, basically, Cortana was, personified, humanity to us, and she's an AI, and Master Chief was playing, basically this robotic being that basically he's just trained to fight, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where they go with the story. I hope that they do a better job with the multiplayer environment this time around than they did on the Master Chief Collection, because apparently that was a huge F up.
I haven't played it. Was it really that bad?
Yeah, I mean, their launch servers were really bad. They had a real hard time matchmaking. And even in Halo 4, the multiplayer wasn't that big. I mean, it still like garnered a lot of activity in the competitive esports. But in terms of like just like average players like playing the game, I mean, Halo 4 came out at a time when like Call of Duty was exploding. So they have a lot to steal from Call of Duty, and I noticed that Call of Duty is losing a little steam. Their like advanced like warfighter kind of gameplay that they went with went toe to toe with Titanfall, and Titanfall did it first, and they did it better.
Yeah. Oh, but which one's still alive, basically? Because Titanfall right now is on sale for like $10 or $20 right now.
But they actually already announced another game that they're working on for the Titanfall series. So I mean, it's still alive and kicking. Splash Damage is that they did a really good job with the first game, and
yeah,
the Call of Duty series is it's losing steam. They can't put out another game that does the same things, because they did Modern Combat. They already did World War II back in the early 2000s for like 5 games. And they did the whole Vietnam era with Black Ops. And then they did the future combat aspect of it. And they didn't even do that good of a job with that in comparison with like Titanfall, which is, I mean, it's supremely more sci-fi than it is like near future combat. But I mean, still, like, it's just like, why? Like, I don't see Call of Duty going much further, and they keep wanting to release new games for it.
They just keep adding animals. That's all. They were adding. They had a dog, and then now did they have a horse? Or am I thinking of Metal Gear Solid 5? Like they're just adding little things to kind of like, hey, this is interesting. Let's add a dog in it. Oh no, we're gonna add a infiltrating cat. He's gonna go through. It's that they're really trying their best to kind of because obviously they know that the consumers are kind of a little fatigued of the same mechanics. Just shoot, it's a first person shooter, and there's just so much of it out there, and it's getting tiresome because it's the same thing every year. I mean, it might be, but then like there's something to say about like Madden. Everyone buys Madden every year. It's essentially the same mechanics, but they still have to get the new Madden. But then I can understand.
I think people buy the new Madden because they want to see their favorite players like in the rosters and stuff like that. I think that's the real reason why they buy Madden games. I mean, back in the day too, it used to be about the better graphics and stuff. But now the graphics are so like there's not a whole lot of difference between last year's Madden and this year's Madden in terms of graphics, or I mean gameplay. You can't even speak to gameplay really.
No.
I mean, you're still playing a controller. It'd be cool if you could actually manage your team by voice, which I'm sure they might have done.
They have. They actually have a game dedicated where basically you have a headphone and basically you're the coach and you just call out plays. You don't get to play the game, but you just call the plays. That's it. I know. So basically, like, I want to run route, whatever, banana Y to whatever, and essentially they just run it for you. You don't do any. It's not a Madden game, but basically it's made by EA though.
So back to the whole animals thing. Something that just came to my mind was a pack of bears. Like, I don't know if it exists in the Call of Duty universe where you could summon a pack of bears to attack people, but that'd be phenomenal.
You know what's the best way they should do next? They should team up with Universal and basically
dinosaurs.
Yes, they're gonna do raptors. Basically, they get Chris Pratt. They're like, hey, we're in a cinematic universe, guys. Call of Duty and Jurassic World, we're in the same universe. We're gonna train effing raptors. That's the next thing. They're gonna train raptors.
So I mean, this kind of like rolls right into our next topic of microtransactions. It's basically trying to like pull money out of the users. Just, I mean, ultimately, what Call of Duty is doing is the same thing that like Assassin's Creed is doing, or any of these serialized games like Madden. They're basically just taking advantage of the gamers who are buying these games every year just because it's new. But it's really the same thing, just maybe slightly better graphics and a small tweak to the gameplay. But a big thing that's come up now is microtransactions, and one of them's actually in the Metal Gear Phantom Pain. So there's like a new base management layer to the game on top of the fact that it's an action stealth game, and basically what you're seeing is that on this screen here is basically an in-game income or in-game money that you can accumulate and even purchase here for $79.95 for 6,000 coins. $79.95 is more expensive than the game is right now.
Yep.
Well, I mean, do you know what the tokens are actually used for, Alan?
Not really. I think you basically you make a base. I think it's like almost. I think I read somewhere it's similar to like it's like full multiplayer. So you have like a base, and it's similar, I believe, to like Clash of Clans, which this sucker spend a ton of money on. Sorry guys, but yeah, it's there. So you get to unlock more things a lot faster because ain't no time to like, we don't have enough time to like wait for things to develop and like unlock achievements and unlock coins. We want to have everything right now. So that's just one way for people to do that.
I don't think that unlockables are something that I'd want to spend money on, especially after I spent something like $60 on a game. Not that I've bought the game. I have not yet bought Phantom Pain. I probably won't either, just because it's a big single player game. It's not really a huge multiplayer component. So why bother getting it right away when maybe
humble bundle.
in a year or like even 6 months, the game will probably be $10 or $20. Like, why bother getting it now? There's plenty of other things that I could spend my money on in terms of games. And then like on top of that, why am I going to spend that much money and then go ahead and spend $80 on a microtransaction afterwards in order to get like mother-based coins?
Well, you don't have to. No one's told you to do that. It's just like those freemium games like Clash of Clans. You don't have to spend $500 on gems to level up your towers, but some people do.
But I mean, like, isn't the point of like most games to like become the best and like do anything that you can like within the realm of what's available in the game to actually get the best stuff? Like I don't know. It's like they're like taking advantage of like game psychology. Like I want to have the best stuff in the game, but there's now a monetary requirement for me to have it. Like it's no longer just a piece of art. Like I always equate video games to art because it's like this big thing with pre-purchasing games before they're even complete, like early access games on Steam. Like, yeah, they're not complete games and I'm paying full price for them yet, and they don't even have to finish the game and they already have all my money. Like, when is the game done? Well, when do they actually tell us that, like, hey, this is the complete game and there is no more to it at all, and like this is our finished piece of art? Like, you don't know when it's done. And like back in the day when you went to the GameStop or FuncoLand, if anyone remembers FuncoLand, like you went, you bought a game, it had a box that had a manual and it had all these things that were already complete components. And then once you finished the game, you realized, like, man, this is complete. This is a final piece of work. But like now you have early access games that just, I mean, you don't know when they're done, and then when they are done, they still release patches and fixes and new DLC that they charge you more money for now too, on top of the fact that you already bought the game. Like it's really upsetting to me to see microtransactions in general. I mean, this seems pretty egregious though, paying $79 for some in-game currency. Meanwhile, I already paid $60 for the game. And I bet you that there's probably going to be some extra DLC for gameplay elements, like a new map or a new mission or something that you have to pay money for. But I don't know, like, what's your experience with freemium games outside of Clash of Clans? Because, I mean, I know you've played a little bit of League and stuff.
I only played like one game with you guys, and I sucked, so that's why I never played it ever again. But the whole thing is that it goes back to our discussion last week where we're talking about, like, you know, hackers. Why do they like, basically why do people want to cheat? It's that they want that edge. Like, if you can get that small edge by paying a little bit of money and you can afford it, why not? Right?
But I feel like this is like a single player element now. This isn't like I'm paying $80 so I have a bigger and better gun than everyone else on the internet. Like, go ahead, you first.
No, well, we don't know. Essentially, we know that this is for multiplayer. So I don't know in detail what it's for, but I believe that it's gonna be like creating a base or something similar to that. So it seems like, you know, like maybe it's like, you know, you raiding bases in the Metal Gear Solid, you know, universe. So, I mean, I don't know the full details. I haven't had a chance to look into it that in depth, but I believe that it's only for multiplayer. It's not something that's going to be helpful in the single player, but it seems like it's more focused on the multiplayer. So it seems like when you're going against someone else in the same server or whatever, you'll have an edge over them because you spent maybe $80 or something, or somebody's going to spend a few $1,000s on microtransactions on the first day. There's no doubt about it.
So it really is just like a Clash of Clans kind of thing. You spend money so you can get ahead a little bit.
Yeah, they have it they have that kind of mechanic in WoW, but they don't have. It's not a microtransaction, but they have those kind of elements in there where you're kind of like, you have like a base. Essentially, you send out minions.
Yeah, I mean, I have no clue because, again, I haven't played the game, and I actually didn't read too much in detail about the mother base mode. I was more interested in the actual like single player story, which apparently, if you check out the reviews, it looks kind of sparse in terms of the story, and you can check out the links to the review in the last video. But I'm a little upset about these microtransactions just in general, just a greater sense of the gaming market as it stands. And with that, let's move over to talking about the movie industry, because it's another stupid big business that makes a lot of money. We have a link to a trailer for Concussion. It's a movie with Will Smith that Alan sent me this link, and I really I have some stuff to say, but I think I'll let Alan go first.
Okay, so I saw this trailer and I thought that, if you've seen it, I thought that Will Smith's like accent in it would kind of pull me out, because it's because usually when you see Will Smith on screen, you're like, oh, that's motherfucking Will Smith.
So wasn't there some controversy about the accent or something? I saw like a news article.
Yeah, because people said, like, it sounds really fake. I thought it was fine, actually. I actually think that this is probably, maybe his first movie where he's back to being Will Smith, because he's done a ton of bad movies recently. Well, not a ton of bad movies. He hasn't really been doing movies. He's been trying to produce, trying to direct. He's been trying to shove his son in everyone's faces. And After Earth basically did a bait and switch, which was a terrible movie. I think his last good movie was I don't remember when his last good movie was.
I brought up the IMDb page, and the last movie before Concussion was Focus, which I'm not even sure what the hell that is. And
that was the one with our new Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, who is unbelievably ridiculously hot. But it's just where he plays like a thief, and he basically tries to teach her how to be a thief. If that's the movie. I heard the movie had like mixed reviews, but basically they like working together, obviously, and now they're in Suicide Squad, where he's playing I think Deathshot, and then she's playing as Harley Quinn. I think his last like full on movie other before Concussion that was decent, I thought, was Men in Black 3. I think, but like he hasn't been as box office as he's used to be honest with you. So maybe this is kind of him coming back, because he also, there's one thing about Will Smith is that his ego has been getting ahead of him, because originally he was supposed to play Django, and then Jamie Foxx, and then he was upset with Quentin Tarantino. He said like, wait a minute, why am I not the hero? Why am I not killing Leonardo DiCaprio? Spoiler. And why is I forgot his name. Basically the other guy, the white guy in there, basically kills Leonardo DiCaprio.
Just so you know, I didn't see the movie, so don't spoil this for me. I do eventually want to see it.
Oh yeah, basically his ego has been kind of all over the place. That's the reason why he's not in Independence Day 4-2, because he was demanding, he's like, hey, if I'm going to do this movie, I want my kid in the movies. I want you to film it near my house. That's why they didn't even bother having Will Smith in this movie, because his ego has been ahead of him.
Movie.
Well, we'll see how it is. Yeah, I mean, but yeah.
Did you know that there was like there's this credit here for Anchorman 2? The legend continues.
He had a little like in Anchorman 1 where they had like a fight scene where like all these different stations fought each other. He was one of the random like cameo. He had a cameo in it. Like just I
never saw Anchorman 2, but I wouldn't have expected him to be in that movie.
Exactly. That's why. But then I'm just talking about like his like first like full feature movie where he's the center of the movie. Because I don't count After Earth, because he was like a supporting character. He had his effing son the whole time out there. He's like, oh, my legs are broken. You're gonna have to go do everything for us.
I mean, look at the credits from the early 2000s, though. I heard that 7 Pounds was really good. Although I did not see it. But, I mean, Men in Black 3, I saw portions of it, and I wasn't all that impressed. But, you had Hancock, I Am Legend,
Hancock.
Pursuit of Happiness, Hitch, I, Robot. I mean, all the way back to, like, Bad Boys 2. I mean, this is just a span of, like, 5 or 6 years. And, he had a bunch of hits. And, like, I don't know, like, more recently, it seems to have calmed down a little bit. And I think you're right. I think he's been focusing on trying to get his son into the game a little bit, and I don't know. I always liked Will Smith. I mean, we grew up with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and he was really funny in that, and he had really interesting characters in movies after that. In the early 2000s and late 90s. I mean, I think it goes all the way back to the first Men in Black, and the reason why he's an enjoyable person to watch on screen. I don't know what movie made it for you, or what made him so appealing, but I think that's where it started for me, at least. Independence
Day. I mean, now that he's going back, he's trying to go back to his old franchises, like just what Vin Diesel did, where basically he left Fast and Furious, and he's like, yeah, I'm not doing Fast and Furious anymore. I'm going to do these other movies, and basically like The Pacifier, which is basically Vin Diesel's version of Kindergarten Cop, which wasn't very good. So it's basically he's going back to try and do these old franchises. Seems like he's going back to do Bad Boys 3 and 4, but there's talks that he's just gonna direct or produce as opposed to starring. Hopefully, he's gonna be starring with Martin Lawrence, who isn't doing much, to be honest with you. He's like Chris Rock. They're not doing anything.
Did you ever see Martin Lawrence's Blue Streak? Did you ever see that movie?
No, I've not. Isn't he like a cop or something, and like he's like chasing after someone?
He's like a diamond robber, and he's about to get caught. And so this is the very beginning of the movie. This is not really ruining anything. He's about to get caught, so he ends up leaving diamonds in a construction site, like up an event or something like that. Which turns out that building turns into like police headquarters for that city. So after he gets out of jail, he goes back and tries to look for the building that got built, and it turns out that it's police headquarters. So he tries to impersonate like a cop to try and get in there and get the diamonds out. Yeah, it's your typical like robber comedy, the late 90s, early 2000s kind of thing. It's really, really funny. If you ever get a chance, you should really watch it. It's good.
Definitely.
Okay. So how about Barack Obama being on Bear Grylls' show? What are your thoughts?
Well, this is the reason why he's going over there is because I believe in the news he's talking about how Alaska wildlife is not doing so hot right now. So he's kind of trying to bring awareness. So that's one of the reasons why he's agreeing to be on the show, which I don't know if anyone has seen it, but he basically what Bear Grylls is. He's the guy from Man vs. Wild, and in this show he brings like celebrities to go and survive the wild. And I believe there's a petition out there saying that where one of Bear Grylls' survival tips is to like basically you drink your own urine to survive. And there's a petition that's submitted to the White House where they're trying to get Obama to drink his own pee.
I didn't know about that. That's funny.
but yeah, to be honest, I think I think it's going to be very toned down because first of all, he's the president of the United States. The Secret Service ain't going to let him do certain things. It's a little dangerous for him to do certain things. They're not going to let him do that. I think that it's going to be a very much a fluff piece, to be honest with you, where they might show him like sweat a little bit and get dirty or bust his ass, but that's about it. They're not going to make him go through the whole thing.
To be honest, I've had this conversation with Renee once before that if any of the presidents if any of the presidents of our generation, of our time, that we've seen presidents in office, I think Barack Obama would be the action hero president. Like I don't see like it just picturing it in my mind. Like I don't see like Bill Clinton or George Bush or George Bush, Senior, crashing through windows with a machine gun. Like if I had to see anyone doing that, I think I would end up seeing good old Barry popping in a window down like a rope rappelling in, like straight up Harrison Ford style Air Force One, like being the action hero.
Get off my plane! Give me back my family.
Well, where's
my family?
I mean, they all have daughters to do that too, so I guess that that whole family thing kind of works anyway. But yeah, I totally see him getting involved with certain stuff, in terms of like trying to figure out like if this is edible or not. Not that there's probably going to be anything edible in Alaska, but like those stupid little like comments and questions about like, hey, can we eat that over there? Because Bear Grylls is known for eating some really ridiculous stuff. I mean, you already said drinking urine. His own urine. Let's be straight about that.
Yeah.
And
it's not drinking bear urine.
It's fresh too, by the way. He made it very clear that it's okay. It's not terrible if you do it and you drink it. It's fresh. Now you can't drink stale piss. but he's eating like stupid bugs and stuff like that. So I imagine like it'd be a cool factor if you get the president to eat like a weird bug or something like that on TV. That'd be awesome, just to have that happen, and gain some a little publicity, for his last term in office. But at the same time, draw some attention to the whole like ecological, green movement kind of thing that he's doing up there. And I think it's good that we see him doing that in the first place. And also, I think that having Bear Grylls take him out there is kind of cool, just because. I mean, we grew up watching shows like Survivor Man and Man vs. Wild, in high school and college, just having something on Discovery Channel to watch right up there with Deadliest Catch and all that stupid crap, too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. Remember, Alaska is, it's a pretty dangerous place out there, the wildlife-wise. You're allowed to carry a gun around there because, you got to be careful. You got to, there's a fucking coyote out there. You got to, and you have to protect yourself. So I'm pretty sure that the Secret Service will be pretty nearby where they see a wolf try to jump at the president. They're like, "Dang!" Well, and you're not going to even see it.
I think on most of his shows, he has like a standby crew that's there. That's there just in case he gets hurt or something like that. So it's not like he's ever alone anyway.
Oh no, of course, there's a camera crew. Yeah. He's not going to die.
I mean,
these are celebrities.
Have you ever watched Survivor Man? Les Stroud, the other guy?
Nope.
So like he actually, you see him in his show, he actually picks up the camera and moves it himself. So like there are shots of him like walking away for like, I don't know, a couple 100 feet, and then you have like video of him like walking back to go pick up the camera, just to show you that he's making progress. Yeah, it's really silly, but it's a lot more interesting because he's out there alone. I think Bear Grylls is more of the more well-known of the two, between Man vs. Wild and Survivor Man. I think it's primarily because of the accent. He's got a really awesome British accent.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious to see how that show goes, but they're not going to air that for quite some time. So
Yeah, not till the end of the year. They haven't even taped it yet, so I'm pretty sure you'll hear things about it whenever they do tape it. They're gonna, if he gets hurt or whatever, you'll hear it from somewhere. So I believe they're gonna broadcast it by the end of the year.
So something else that I found online that Alan probably hasn't had a whole lot of time to look up and read about, but something I wanted to show everyone and show him was this really cool Kickstarter campaign. And I found this actually on YouTube. I was just kind of browsing around, and I found a video for this Kickstarter, and it's for this thing called Megabots. And it's basically what you'd imagine as a little kid growing up, like being able to hop in a giant robot and like fight Japanese robots. Like it's absolutely phenomenal. Like the company basically challenged a Japanese robotics company. So an American robotics company challenges a Japanese robotics company that already has a robot, the one on the right, the Karatas, or however you'd pronounce that in Japanese. And basically it's another manned robot, another manned vehicle, to combat. Basically, they want to fight the robots. The main thing that the Japanese wanted, they agreed to this fight, but the main thing that they wanted was melee combat. They didn't want to do just ranged combat. So these guys actually have a robot already, and they call it the Mark II, and it's got like these paintball cannons that are on it. I guess they designed this thing for like paintball warfare, just to like show up and like impress people. But like that's what you see on it right now. Is those aren't like real rocket launchers or anything like that. So they
should be.
I mean, they challenged this Japanese robotics company that designed this robot, I think intentionally for some sort of like security duty or something like that. But basically, they want to retool their giant manned robot to have chainsaws and an awesome paint job. They want to put some cool tracks on it so they could make sure that it goes faster. They got involved with NASA and this robotics company that DARPA hired to have like walking robots to help them like keep balance on the walker, just so that if they got punched or if they got chainsawed, that they don't fall over or anything like that. And they have like other advisors like Grant Imahara from Mythbusters as a like robotics expert. And they also got the guys from BattleBots, that like the original founders of the BattleBots like company that did the show way back when, which actually just recently started airing shows again. I think it was in
last
June.
season. Yeah, I believe they have it on as NBC or something like that. They're bringing back BattleBots.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how far along this goes. I mean, if you look at the top of the Kickstarter here, it's actually almost to its goal of $500,000. But they have stretch goals that go all the way out to like $1.5 million. But I mean, this is pretty sweet, right? I mean, we always wanted to see robots, giant robots with people in them, not like drones that the typical word that they're using for remote control things now. You always wanted to see like manned robots punching the shit out of each other and just absolutely wrecking each other. I'm a little bit worried because you're gonna have a dude in there and you're gonna have weapons.
Two dudes in each one.
Yeah.
I saw the video.
I mean, I mean, there's a very decided chance that these people will get injured during combat. Like, I don't understand like exactly what they're trying to prove by being the pilot inside. But I mean, it certainly looks to be pretty cool, and a matter of national pride, they call it, because we need to beat the Japanese robotics guys for all the years that us kids watched Japanese anime and always wanted to pilot a mobile suit or something from Gundam Wing. I don't know. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Alan? I threw this at you kind of last minute.
No, I looked up on some of the things. So the Karatas, they are not doing security. Basically, they sell these essentially. They actually sell these on Amazon. They sell these kits, but they cost $1 million for a kit of these things. So me and you won't have the money to buy one. But yeah, I think the reason why they're doing this is also it's publicity. They want to get people's attention about like, hey, in America we're making robots, and over there they're making robots too. Let's kind of like start this little. It's kind of like they start a little feud to kind of get us talking about it. Right now, me and you are talking about this because, I mean, we wouldn't really wouldn't bring us to attention to, but this is how it is. It's like one of those fake feuds that they put on where they're like, oh, we really don't like each other, but really, it's helping us, prosper, because look at all the backing the people from in the American team are getting, all the help from NASA, all these other celebrities. So it seems like more of a publicity stunt to me. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's cool as hell, but it seems like more of a publicity, to be honest with you.
I mean, just like anything else, I'm sure. Oh, I lost my camera. Just like anything else, I'm sure that they're trying to do this to try and raise awareness for science and things like that. But to be honest, I think ultimately what they're trying to do is raise money, because that's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, publicity and money. They're not doing this for themselves. They need to pay the bills, and they want to pay someone to pay for their interest. That's why Kickstarter is a great thing, but a bad thing at the same time, because it gets people to be lazy. They're just like, well, I don't want to go out and raise funds. Like back then, there were no Kickstarters. People had to go out to studios, go out to these and beg and make proposals to kind of get people to fund their stuff. But now there's Kickstarters, which is a great thing, because it's helping. I don't really agree with Kickstarter for Shenmue 3, I believe, because you're or like when they make movies like Veronica Mars, because you're funding a movie for a big company to make money. Why are you doing that? Do you understand? It's kind of weird, but I digress. But I mean, yeah.
Could you imagine what it would be like if we could get people to fund our hobby, making this stupid set of videos or something? Like, imagine we got $500,000. What the hell we would do with $500,000 for making this video? I mean, we don't have any costs, but I mean, they're trying to build a robot. I mean, we're comparing apples to oranges, but I mean, still.
People were I've seen these things on Facebook recently where someone passed away, and basically they're getting people to donate money to them. That's kind of it's kind of a Kickstarter-esque, where you're submitting money to a cause, to a story, because that's what you're doing when you're Kickstarter. You're submitting your dollars to a story that you believe that you want to support, essentially. So that's I don't know where I'm getting into this, but that's basically what they're trying to do, is that they're trying to make money off and feed to their hobby.
Well, I was having a conversation with my father the other night, and he was asking questions about like what Kickstarter is and what GoFundMe is, or any of those things. And I couldn't think of a way to boil it down simple enough into like a one-liner. It took me a few seconds, but I came up with something. It's a pyramid scheme. Like Kickstarter and like all these like crowdsourced funding, it's ultimately pyramid schemes. Like basically, you tell two friends, those two friends share it with two more friends, and you only need one or two of those people to fund, because then they'll share with another two people and another two people, and maybe one more of them will start to fund. But it's amazing how you know, I mean, they call YouTube videos anything else going viral because it spreads so quickly. But like ultimately, that's what Kickstarter does. It gets ideas across a bunch of people, and then you hopefully get like one out of every couple thousand to donate money, and eventually you actually get somewhere. It's really scary because there's a lot of people on this planet. That there has to be like one or two other people who are actually interested in something that you're doing to actually fund you, and but just by pure numbers, and you probably get this as a science guy, like the numbers are staggering. Like if you had like 1% of the population even interested in what you're doing, like that's a huge number. That's ridiculously huge. Like in the U.S., what there's like 400 million people or something like that. Maybe 500 million. I don't know what the current U.S. population is, but like if you had like a half a percentage point of those people even at all interested in your stuff, and then you had another like 1% of those people who donated, it's still going to be like thousands and thousands of people. Like it's not like a trivial number. It's really cool how stuff like Kickstarter works, but it's ultimately a pyramid scheme. Because you're just hoping for that 1 to 2 ratio that happens with every person.
I have a question. Who do you think is going to win? It's between the U.S. and Japan. Who do you think is going to win?
So, if you look at the pictures between the two of them, you can actually see that like the one that's from the U.S. is actually like a single set of tracked vehicles, or like a single tracked vehicle, whereas this like Kuritas thing it's like a tri-wheeled robot or something like that. I'm tempted to see. I mean, right now it just seems like the American one is just bigger and tougher than the Japanese robot, but at the same time, I feel like the American one's vulnerable to being knocked over. I mean, you look at it; it looks ridiculously top heavy by comparison to the Japanese counterpart. But I feel like if you look at the top of the Japanese robot, like they really don't have a lot of reach like going on. And they said that they want to do like melee combat. It's like, how are you going to get close enough to like fight the other robot when your arms are that stubby and your legs are that big?
They're Japanese; they'll figure something out. I mean. Personally, I mean, if I had to predict a winner, I would want the U.S. to win, but unfortunately, I think the Japanese would take it. I mean, just looking at because it seems like their program is a lot further along than what I see in the Americans, because it seems like they're. I'm just looking at the technology, the things that they're doing with these robots. It seems like they're a lot further along. I mean, I would put it for them to win if I had to predict. But like obviously, I want the U.S. to win.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
it looks like
it doesn't seem like the U.S. team is like a super serious robotics company. It looks like it was just like two guys who decided, yeah, let's build a robot for paintball stuff, and then now this just turned into an idea. Let's challenge a real robotics company to a robot battle. It's like this Japanese company's been at it for a while, probably longer than these guys.
A few years. They're actually selling these prototypes. So, like I said, they're selling these prototypes for $1 million. You can buy them. I mean, right now they're sold out, I believe, but you can usually buy them on Amazon, actually.
Because I'm sure any one of our friends who's watching this could probably afford a $1 million robot. Although, if we start a Kickstarter, maybe we can get all our friends to actually buy one.
Yeah, you can. You just be like, help us fulfill our dreams of always having a freaking robot,
owning a robot, and we could let you test drive it. I don't know. That'd be phenomenal, though, if we ended up doing that. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm leaning Team Japan on this one as well. I just don't see us winning that fight, at least as it stands right now. We'll see what happens, when their Kickstarter ends and when they get their money together and they start showing off what they've been doing. They have some cool rewards though, based on their Kickstarter campaign. You can like go and pilot the vehicle and shoot some of the weapons and stuff like that, but it's like $10,000 to do that, and I'm not about to go and do that yet.
Yeah, it looks like this is basically their thing. It's like if Japanese people started playing football, and they beat us, that'd be like, what? That's weird. And it's kind. I just don't see us winning this. I mean, it's nice that we're trying to do this, but I just don't see any way that the U.S. is going to win. To be honest with you.
Okay. Let's go back to the topic on concussion a little bit more. I realized that we might have skipped some integral part of the discussion here because we were really focused on Will Smith's sort of career, but the real focus should be on like the actual movie and sort of the controversy that surrounds the whole football and concussions thing. And I mean, this was a big deal. What, like 8 years ago that they started, spending a lot of time on changing rules for allowing.
Now they're still doing it now. They're doing a lot of rule changes now. They're trying to move, like the what you call it? What's that thing? The kickoff. They're trying to cut that out. They're trying to get rid of that. They're trying to further the goal, further the what you call it? The kick. Like they're trying to do a lot of things where they're trying to make it more safer for the players because. It's a dangerous sport. People get hurt. Look, people are getting hurt in preseason for God's sakes, and it's preseason. So it's just it's a dangerous sport. Obviously, these people they knew what they were getting into.
Ultimately, these people get paid a ton of money to get beat up. But it's the same reason why boxers get paid millions of dollars to fight a boxing match. So ultimately, they're going to get beat to shit. And we know that. And yeah, we need to give them money. Yeah, maybe it's a little too much money. Yeah, maybe they shouldn't have chosen this particular profession. There are a lot of things here in play, but ultimately, yeah, I mean, worker safety is always a thing. And why doesn't OSHA regulate, stuff in the NFL a lot more? Like that'd be interesting to see that happen.
Does OSHA regulate stuff from the NFL?
I'm really not sure. I mean, we deal with OSHA stuff all the time because we work in laboratories and stuff, and I don't think they actually regulate anything about football. Like, is there an OSHA regulation on the type of helmet and like protective gear that you can wear while playing football? Well, I don't think that there is.
I think OSHA does actually regulate some of the stuff for the NFL. I believe. I mean, right now all right. So the NFL has been sued. There was there's a mass lawsuit where all these former players were suing the NFL because of concussions. And recently I believe they just settled it. And that's why the NFL, it's good for it. What they're trying to do right now is try to protect themselves, where they know that. Obviously, all the parents, everyone's going to be worried about kids getting concussions. So they're going to dump money into research for safer helmets, safer pads, cutting the rules down, making the rules down. So then parents will let their kids play football because ultimately, if the kids don't start playing football, future generations, there's not going to be good players playing the sport. And that's going to diminish your product overall. And that's not good for business. So what they're trying to do is trying to cover their ass. And basically, this movie, it seems like it really takes the NFL in a really, really bad situation. I don't know about you, but it seems like the NFL is like the mafia. It's like, oh, things are going to get bad. So you're like, whoa, you didn't see this part of the NFL. I mean, Roger Goodell probably, Roger Goodell's Roger Goodell. We won't go into that topic.
I mean, they probably are a giant mafia. I mean, look at the
multi-billion-dollar company. You tell me whether they have something.
They're a billion-dollar company that's private too. They're not even a publicly owned entity. They probably are basically the mafia at the very top. This isn't This isn't small potatoes to them because it's a lot of money for a lot of people in a small circle. Yeah, it scares me to think about what they could do to the sport. I don't mean that making changes to the sport to try and keep it safer is a bad thing. What I mean to them is if they really wanted to shut down football, they could do it. These guys at the top, but they won't because they really want money. I mean, they're greedy as hell.
They did a really good episode on South Park where basically they were playing football and everyone was wearing pads, and instead of tackling each other, you give hugs or something like that. or like it was something really, really ridiculous. But anyway, looking at the trailer itself, this movie looks pretty interesting. It looks like obviously Will Smith's back to form. It looks like a movie that depending on how critics review it, maybe I'll go out and take a look, watch it, because to be honest, I don't usually go out to watch movies unless they're big blockbusters, because you want to be in the cinema for that. But like for like comedies or these like kind of like these drama pieces, I typically tend to wait for them to come out on VOD or something like that, so I can watch it itself, because it doesn't warrant that cinema experience. So maybe it might draw my interest.
Just going back to like the money mongering at the top of the NFL. You ever see that like video of the guy throwing the money at the FIFA like president or something like that?
Oh yeah, it was like the press conference or something.
Yeah, like some guy just came in and like started giving a speech in front of him and like just threw a ton of money like at him.
I heard he's related to the guy who threw the shoe at George Bush too.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I'm just saying they're just crazy people.
It'd be funny if there's money in the shoe. That'd be great. Yeah, I mean, these organizations that run these sports foundations and stuff like that, they're super corrupt. Like there's no doubt about it. I mean, there's just so much money involved, and they're privately owned entities. This is like, it's crazy. It's absolutely stunning. What kind of lengths that they'll go to try and cover stuff up too. I mean, look at the Deflategate thing going on. Like that's a big deal right now, and like the whole concussion thing, that got a lot less press than even Deflategate does, and that's kind of upsetting on the human sense. But
yeah, I think that kind of attributes to part of what my discussion was, that fantasy football. Like fantasy football is a big part of the NFL as well, because fantasy football is so big. That's one of the reasons why NFL is the most watched sport in America. Because every Sunday, I don't know about you, I want to check my fantasy league. I'm like, oh wow, like RG3 sucked today.
So NASCAR I feel like fantasy the most viewers, or has that changed recently because of fantasy football?
I think NFL has supplanted that. NFL has probably one of the richest TV contracts, I believe. It's either NFL or the NBA, because I believe the NBA just signed a new one. But it seems like fantasy football has kind of make us numb to the players' well-being, because we don't really care. Like we only care like if the player's on the field. LaShawn McCoy, he's injured, freaking bum. Like that these players they get threats on Twitter and stuff like that, saying like, hey, why did you play? You little pussy or whatever. They don't care about the well-being. They care about winning their league, which is understandable, because obviously everyone's selfish. Everyone wants to care about their self-interest. But it seems like those kind of things kind of led us to one of the factors to kind of lead us to kind of be numb to these players' well-being. What do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, there's definitely that group think sense that's happening with like fantasy football. I mean, this happens with a lot of stuff where your individual greed put together as like a giant whole on the part of humanity really hurts you. Or like the small like minor inconveniences for you are really a big deal on the larger scale. Thinking of like littering, like you throw a water bottle out of your car. It's not such a big deal for you, but like on the massive scale of like having million, and this goes back to like the sheer numbers of people that are out there, and having such a small mind about like people around you and things that are around you. Like if I throw a water bottle out the car, like there's bound to be hundreds or thousands of other people who are doing that at just that same moment. Like, and on the greater sense of things, it's really bad. And it's the same thing with this. I mean, you have an instance where like your player in fantasy gets hurt, where he got hurt in actuality, and there, like you said, I mean, there are thousands of people, millions of people out there who are like, this sucks. This guy's hurt. I'm gonna drop him from the team. And then like it's that same kind of mentality that hurts everyone in the long run. Yeah, I get that. I definitely get that.
Agree.
So I mean, there's something else that I kind of wanted to talk about. as well that aren't in the show notes. And this is something that I wanted to bring up last week, but we didn't have enough time to get to it. And we're running a little bit over time now, but we started a little bit late, so who cares? Basically,
show 2.
Yeah, it's show 2, whatever. Basically, there's this headline that's out there for Burger King wanting to team up with McDonald's to make a new burger. And essentially, McDonald's said, no, we want to do something bigger. Because the original idea was that in Chicago, they would open a temporary location to start selling a hybrid Whopper and Big Mac. Basically, the idea here is to make the McWhopper, essentially.
Oh,
McDonald's said no. We don't want to open for just one day in Chicago. Basically, they're trying to celebrate the International Day of Peace or something like that. So they're like, hey, let's do something bigger, and they essentially said no to that. But there are other companies who stood up and answered this open letter to them, which includes Denny's, for example.
yeah, I see. We'll hash it out.
Yeah. So my thought, as a way to end this show on an interesting note, is if Burger King and Denny's makes a mashup burger, what would you call it? I mean, if you look in the notes here on this website, they actually say that it would be 2 patties, and it would end up having a fried egg on it as well. So it looks like it'd be a mashup of a breakfast kind of burger and a typical regular burger.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, speaking of breakfast, you heard about the McDonald's is going to do all day breakfast now?
Oh yeah. They're going to start that nationwide sometime soon. I don't think I saw a date on that. That's interesting.
I'm in trouble. It's going to be bad.
I love their hash browns. So I mean, I'm okay with this.
I'm gonna die. I have high cholesterol. I guess this is gonna make it worse. Thanks, McDonald's.
I don't know. So I'm thinking moons over my Whopper.
Whopper.
Moons over my Whopper. Or I don't know. What's the Grand Slam Whopper?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was trying to figure out one of their platters that they usually have, and
yeah,
kind of implement
they're most well known for the Grand Slam breakfast, or Grand Slam Witch breakfast. So I mean, maybe the Slam Whopper. I don't know. If anyone who's watching this has any ideas, they can drop some comments down below. Maybe there's something there that might be interesting, but nothing, Alan. You don't have anything else? Maybe
not. I just want to eat. I don't care about this thing. I just want to eat it. I'm sorry. I don't really have thoughts about it.
Or how about
what it sounds
how about
like.
another question associated with this article? How about if you could see Burger King team up with any fast food restaurant to make a sandwich, one sandwich? It wouldn't be the whole chain, condensing stuff. What would it be? What chain, and what would the sandwich be? What mixture of foods?
Five Guys, maybe? For some reason, I just thought of Five Guys. I mean, they're not.
That's an awfully
what are they gonna
simple
do?
one.
I mean, what are they gonna do with Wendy's? Basically, the Wendy's have square patties. That's it.
It could be a Whopper that has a square patty.
You can talk. You can
deal with bacon Whopper or the Whoppinator. It's like the Baconator version of the Whopper.
Well, yeah. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I'm not a cook. I don't know anything about food. All I know is that I like to eat. That's it. If it looks good, it smells good, I'll eat it. That's all that matters. I'm sorry, Steve. I just don't have too much to input about food, other than I'll just eat it.
Oh, I'm just hungry. I'll just eat it. Whatever it is, whatever they come up with, I'll just eat it.
Yeah, I'm hungry right now. I want to eat right now.
All right. Yeah. If you guys watching this at home can, I mean, we're at home too. If you guys come up with any other mashups that might be interesting, leave it in the comments below. We'll check it out. But I think that's going to be our show for tonight. Again, I'm Steve Chin. It's September 2nd, 2015. And my co-host, Alan.
Yep. Hello. So, yeah, we'll see you next week, right?
Yeah, we should be back on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. next week. Same time, same place. We'll be on YouTube, and we'll be posting this this video. We should upload to YouTube directly after this in about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes or so. And we should also post information about the next show just before the show happens on Wednesday next week.
By the way, I kept my hands to myself.
What are you talking about? They're all over me. All right, guys.
Anyways.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
You too.